And welcome to this episode of The Journey. We're doing something very special today. This is going to be an awesome episode. We're calling it The Random Show. We're going to spin a wheel, and we're going to let the wheel pick what topics we speak about. You guys excited?
This is
We're
awesome.
excited. Dun, dun, dun.
I can't wait.
I can't believe we're actually doing this.
It's been talked about for a long time, and now this is it. We're here.
Cool.
And just to throw it out there, we really didn't do much research or anything on any of these subjects. I sent a text out, but nobody reads my text anyway.
No, we don't.
So,
Very true. No, we don't.
you know, we're winging it. And
There was a text about this? I should know what these topics are.
and it's going to be awesome. We have 10 spots on the wheel. We have 8 categories, 1 question mark, and 1 with Cole's name on it.
Oh.
So should we just get into it?
Yeah!
Let's go.
Wait. Now, who spins the wheel?
I don't know.
We didn't think about that.
We didn't get that
I
part.
told you we didn't do much to get this
Wasn't
going.
in the
you know?
text.
I got it. All right. The first person who spins the wheel is the one who broke it.
Oh, okay. That would be me. We all ready?
Let's do
Yeah,
it.
go ahead.
Spin the wheel.
Oh boy. Wow, right
Right on.
Okay. All right. I don't know how much time this is going to take up, so maybe it's good that we're getting it right out of the way because it might be a quick one. But I think a lot about rituals and how they appear in many different facets of life, right? Obviously, if you're into like spiritual things, you know, there's in context of like religious practices and stuff. I grew up in a Catholic household, so I think of things like the sacraments, like marriage obviously is a big one, baptism, confirmation, that kind of thing. Those are all big, like grandiose rituals, right? But then ritual practice also appears in things like being a musician, being like an athlete. There's a lot of rituals in stuff like baseball and in like poker and stuff like that. So I guess the short version of the question is like, what are some rituals that you guys see in your life that you guys do? Like, quick and easy one is whenever I sit down to play the drums, I have to wash my hands first. I can't play unless I have clean hands. For whatever reason, that, you know.
Now, is that a ritual or OCD?
I was going to say, yeah, I don't know if that qualifies as a ritual, but yeah, I don't know.
I guess you're prepping your instrument. I mean, you got to use sticks, and you don't want the sticks to fly out of your hand.
Right.
If your hands are dirty, they could slip.
Yeah, for me, I don't even know if the hand washing does anything, but it helps me get in the right like mental space and like free up the, you know,
So
all
it's not even the
all
cleanliness;
clutter.
it's the whole act. Of
Right,
doing
it's
it.
just the act of doing it, and then I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to play, and I go play.
Nice.
Well, that makes sense because before we do circle with our clan, our other sisters, we ritually wash our hands.
Yeah.
There you go.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we do.
Sure.
And
You can't
each
step
one,
into the circle without doing it.
Yeah.
It's just,
You have
we
to
do,
be
yeah.
clean,
Yeah.
cleansed.
There you go. Like literally the same thing. That's
Yeah.
funny. Wow.
I mean, like ritualistically, I don't see myself as that type of person.
So you don't wash your hands.
Well, yeah, I actually overwash my hands. I overwash my hands. Trust me. But like comparing to what you were saying, whenever I'd have band practice, I would nap and wake up 20 minutes before if it was, you know, where we were usually practicing, and I would wake up, get dressed, grab my bass, and go.
Just go and hit it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my ritual with that.
Sure.
Now, rituals are all over society. There's different cultures that have different types of rituals, and it goes pretty deep, I think,
Sure.
you know, depending on what part of the world you're from, what your culture is. But anybody have any, rituals or things that they do?
Yeah, I mean, whenever I go for a hike, it's usually I burn some incense before I go, breathe it in, center myself, and then go out. And then as I finish the hike, I, thank the forest for letting me go through it.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Nice.
Joe Fu, come on, we want some rituals.
I don't think cleaning cat litter is considered a ritual. That's what's coming to mind.
You can make your chores a ritual.
I mean, it has to be, or it doesn't get done. So in my head,
There you
there's a
go.
whole
Be
bunch. I have a
mindful
whole
of
thing.
your housekeeping.
So I
Right,
have a
it's
question.
all
What-
the stuff you do leading up to cleaning the cat litter that is the ritual.
and what happens if you don't do it? I'm just curious. What happens if you didn't wash your hands? Did you not play well? Did you feel off?
I just feel like when I do it, it helps like ground me, and then if I don't do it, I realize that I didn't do it beforehand, and that throws me off.
Throws you off.
Yeah, which, I don't know. It's a weird mental game there, you know.
And the thing with me with the sleeping is if I think too much, I would overplay. I was playing with my drummer at the time was a music professor, and my guitarist was a very accomplished guitarist, and we were a three-piece. And when I overplayed, I'd make mistakes, and
Yeah.
so if
Yeah,
I just
no, I feel
woke
that.
up, went, and kept it silly, keep it silly, stupid, or whatever, kiss, just played, and it worked out better every time.
So is this why when we come over to play music, you're always diddling way too damn much?
Probably.
Because he doesn't know what
He
kiss
didn't take the
stands
nap.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yes. I was just still
Silly.
processing.
He knows the message.
Processing.
The order of the words is.
All right, that was interesting. And,
Well,
rituals are
I
all
do have a
over.
real ritual now that
What's
you
that?
bring it up.
Now he has one.
Every band ever?
Really though, especially when I have to go to work, I have this mental checklist
Yeah.
of things that I have to go through, or I can't leave the house.
That's why you're always late.
Part of why, yes, I am
Yes.
late because I'm running around going, okay, now I have to check this, now I have to check
Yeah.
this, and I have to
I
do
did
this.
I
that
know
on the
why
way.
he's
I
late. I
always-
know. Takes a while for the squirrel to get going on the wheel.
Go ahead,
Joe
put the
Fu.
squirrel up.
Joe Fu is always late to every single thing. Work, Dark Odyssey, every single thing.
Who
Joe.
made us late here
You've-
today, though?
You've made it. You've made it an accomplishment in life. Because
And
My
you do it
ritual.
well.
It is part of your ritual.
It's a ritual of being late.
That's habitual.
Right. Fine line.
all right, let's see what the next one is.
Who's getting up
Okay.
now? You again?
You know, I just
Yeah.
realized I didn't come up with anything else, so if it lands on that again, we're
No,
screwed.
we have to cut and redo it.
Spin.
All right, here we go.
We need like some dreamy music to put in over like that whole tone scale over the.
Are we living in a simulation?
Ooh.
Oh, is this that Matrix?
Yeah,
idea?
something like that, I guess, right?
Oh my god.
Well, the movies were pretty good.
Oh, the movies were
What, The
awesome. I
Matrix?
love them.
Yeah.
I love those movies.
Well, yeah. I mean, the premise
Never
of the
saw them.
Matrix was the
Never saw
AI
them.
or the robots
Right.
had their own formed consciousness, and they wanted to take over.
And they enslaved us and used us as
Yeah.
batteries to.
But now think about it. I mean, I don't know if I subscribe to being in simulation now, but we are headed that way. Think about it. They have like the robots. What's her name? Sophie. Mm-hmm. The AI. And now they came out with Grace, the robotic nurse.
Really?
Yep.
They're also working on robots to send to other planets that we could then pilot from here.
But none of this is living in a simulation.
Right.
The fact of
It's-
living in a simulation, which some actual big scientists, theoretical scientists, and stuff like that, have actually proposed as something that is actually happening.
So if it's a simulation, how are we living and dying?
Well,
Couldn't
it's,
you just live forever if it's a simulation then, right?
possibly,
Got to crack the code.
yeah.
Crack the code.
I
Well,
mean-
and that's exactly, isn't that higher consciousness? Isn't that when you talk about the ancient civilizations of these beings or people that attain that level and they just leave their body? Who's the Buddhist
Jesus?
or the Padmasambhava, right? Padmasambhava left his body and he attained the rainbow body and he was deathless. So, and that was, he cracked the code. and it was that enlightenment, and that's what Buddhists always attain, strive to get to. And he always talked about like his things that he learned, and he was able to travel and still have his teachings while that he left his body, and he lived on, and because people spotted him, and he did all these teachings, and he would talk about how his teachings were in the cloud. Hence, we have the term "in the cloud." But yeah, that came from Padmasambhava, and he broke the code.
Nice.
He's also got the records of various people throughout history that they have a birth certificate and they have a death certificate, and they are hundreds of years apart from each other.
Well, yeah, that could be clerical.
Maybe.
I mean,
maybe not.
the whole basis of us living in a simulation is that none of this is real. Nothing is real.
It is what you make it.
True.
I have to tell you, this is just a little bizarre thing, but when I was like 7 or 8, I used to tell my brother all the time, we're not real. Somebody's watching us on a TV show or in a movie. We're not real. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, we're not really people. Somebody's watching us. Drove him crazy. I really believed it, but it drove him crazy. I'm like, this is not real.
Entertaining.
Well, to be in an alien zoo and we're the aliens.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's still not living in a simulation.
They're watching.
Right.
That's
Those
the
are all
terrarium
different
effect,
versions.
where
Yeah, right.
our universe is in a potted, a plant potter or something to that effect, a glass bowl, and we're just the experiment of some other being. But
Or on the back of a turtle flying through space.
Yes, exactly. So living in a simulation, when scientists break down to the atomic level of seeing things, which we are getting to now, they are seeing patterns that repeat. So if nature is randomness, well, we're seeing repeating patterns.
But it really isn't. Nature is repeating patterns. And
Yes,
if you look
to
at
a certain extent.
to every
certain
extent,
extent, no.
because if you think about it, everything from nature to the planet to the galaxy, everything has a repeating pattern. It's just like when people talk about global warming now. The same pattern happened 10,000 years ago, 12,000 years ago, which sparked the ice age, the last ice age. So everything has a repeating pattern.
Yep.
But what if we had a advanced civilization? We were advanced, and we just constantly contribute to that grid, that consciousness grid that we all talk about and tap into, and that's where psychic abilities come from, or premonitions, or if I'm thinking something or have an invention, but I don't do anything about it, but then 6 months later somebody else invents it. Mm-hmm. It's like that grid, that web.
Well, that's a very good point, because throughout history, when major advancements are made, it's always not just one guy. It's like 3, 5, 7 guys. Mm-hmm. The phone, the Graham Bell.
Because they're tapping
And what's
in.
the Italian guy? We have the museum here, Mirabelli. The guy who, the phone. It's on down in Stapleton, the museum.
Con Ed?
Marconi? Was it Marconi? We have the Mirabucci Museum, and he invented the phone. He invented the phone just at the same time as Alexander Graham Bell. And there's a fight over who actually did it first. Cars with the same thing, and airplanes. It wasn't just Kitty Hawk. There were Germans flying at the same time period over in Germany.
Well, not even just that. Think about the light bulb.
Yeah. Edison didn't, please, we all know
But
Edison
then that just confirms
Edison didn't invent anything.
that what you
Improved on
think,
stuff.
it becomes if you think something and you feel that, it
And other
becomes
people
your
pick up
reality.
on it.
Right.
So in essence then, if it is a simulation, then we are the controllers of that simulation.
No.
Because then our higher consciousness is automatically attached to that grid.
Well, the whole purpose of the are we living in a simulation would be to establish, is there a simulation going on, and whether or not we're in control of that, a whole other story. We could be like Neo and, do kung fu kicks off the wall. And,
I think we're in control of it. I think that our highest selves are always in connection with that grid, and we're just here temporarily.
I do believe to some extent that everything in the universe is here with us, within us, and around us, and we can tap into that. I definitely agree with that. But it's not really jiving with the whole simulation thing.
How so?
Well, because if we're living in a simulation, we're not actually conscious right now. We are most likely sleeping through it and just dreaming it.
Well, the simulation is that you have it. In essence, you could be, because you're not in touch with your higher self, are you? So your higher self is basically what's consciousness. So basically, you are asleep. So
Okay, true,
your higher.
true.
So no one. I mean, there are
True.
people who are in touch with their higher selves, but that's part of that simulation.
Interesting. Very interesting.
You know, I'm just gonna go like this.
We're all stop poking each other. You gotta go, oh, Brian.
Brian, you really here?
All right, you spun for 2 segments. Who's
Who's
spinning
next?
next?
I say
Push
Cole
ups on the
spins.
mirror.
Cole spins.
Take this with me.
Spinny, spin, spin.
Bin.
Multiverse.
Multiverse theory.
Is this like multi-ball?
Yes.
Multipass?
Multipass.
So basically, the multipass, the multiverse theory is that every decision we make leads into its own universe and branches off from there.
It's very similar to when we did the shaman's journey, the experience that Joe Fu had
forget it.
with all of the branches.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
He kind of saw his different life.
Well,
yeah.
it was like branching off into different tunnels that I could see down. That was like very, very strange. I was able to go, okay, this is my life now, but that would have been my life had I made that decision, and then keep going forward. And then wait, no, that was that decision. Glad I didn't do that. Coming down, oh, I could have done that. That would have been cool, but no, I'm here. You know, like it's just strange that it went like that.
A little backstory on that, though. What did we do? Well, people don't know.
We did a shamanic journey.
Thank you.
In episode 2,
Yes.
Yes.
A shaman's journey.
check out episode 2,
Yes.
The Journey with Dark Odyssey. It's gonna be
So that was
awesome.
cool. So basically, every decision we make branches off into its own universe and therefore spawns its whole, another.
Well,
just universe.
not even just every decision that you make, it's every decision you don't make either.
Yeah. Wow.
Think about it. How many universes there would be for
Yeah,
every
right.
person, just one person's
I mean,
decisions.
that implies that there's infinite universes, right?
Correct.
Because
Yeah.
if every person is making decisions,
So
Well,
now,
where
do they cross? So in this, if I didn't make a decision and you didn't make a decision, do we end up in that same? Do they cross?
No, because we're here together, and all those other universes are somewhere
or they
else.
do cross,
But
but
who's
they
in those
didn't
other
because we
universes?
didn't actually make those
different
decisions.
versions of us.
So
Right.
There's
then-
But if
versions
there's
where
other versions of
there's
us, how
versions-
do you know we haven't met in another
Well, there's-
universes?
There's
Oh, sure.
gonna be multiple universes, and each universe has a different version
Right.
of every person.
Right.
There's
I
a
could be a
version of
woman.
this. There's a
that's
version
like-
of this where Joe Fru's the head,
You'd
and it's
make
all about
such a
the
beautiful
SDM.
woman.
there's a
You can't even get that right.
there's an ancient teaching.
he's not good with these
What
letters.
is it?
And
There's a Pythagorean teaching that they talk about. I don't know if it's a multiverse, but you have 22 realities of yourself and 22 different worlds, but it's still 22 of you. It's not like 22. One could be a woman. One
Don't
could,
scare me
there are
like that.
22 of you. And in worlds similar to this, and depending on whatever decisions they affect
But now,
each other.
I just saw an episode of a show, and there were different versions of different characters. I won't prop the show yet, but one was an alligator, one was a female, one was
I think we could just assume what it was.
Yeah.
So
it was in different versions. There's different versions of yourself, different versions of the group where maybe some of us are different. Brian's over here, I'm over there. You know,
Why 22? What,
I don't
is that
know.
number
I don't
significant?
know
Why is
the
it limited
whole-
to capped at
Yeah.
22?
And
I don't
who,
know.
who made that determination?
Right.
it
This
was a
was-
How did they
mathematical
even
decision.
know?
No, but
Right.
this was some teaching during the mystery school days in ancient Rome and Greece, and this is what they taught
from
when they
Pythagoras.
right.
That's
And
where we get the whole concept of the Pythagorean theorem. It all comes, all of our current society, math, and everything, even math, science, you name it, all back in the day was considered the occult.
yeah,
yeah,
oh yeah.
and they had mystery schools and teachings, and this is what they taught. I don't know if there was mathematics behind that number or
To me, it would seem that I don't know. I just think there's got to be more than 22. I just can't imagine it stops at 22. It has to be infinite. There's no way,
Right.
knowing what we know and how connected it is, and how I can't imagine it just stopping at 22.
Not
I like-
infinite, not 22. I mean, 22 versions of us.
Yeah, I
And-
think there's 100 of me out there. Aren't you all
Yeah,
lucky?
that's kind of how I feel, because I mean, if I decided at the beginning never to join this group, now you have two versions of me. One that joined the group and one that
Right.
didn't join the group. Now you go down the line and something else happens. There's two distinct outcomes from there. So your one becomes two, becomes four.
Right.
You just expand exponentially.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
that's why
No.
it would make sense that there was more than 22.
I-
But
I
considering
agree with
how
that.
far back it was.
See, I agree with the theory, but at some point, how much matter can occupy technically the same space? I mean, really? I mean, where are all these infinite universes located? And it's just,
I mean,
are
the
we on
theory
the
is
same
that they're
plane?
stacked on top of each other.
You know,
It
that's
wouldn't
just-
be the same plane. They're
And at some point, you
we're
would realize
in
that.
the same spot, but
Yeah.
there's layers between.
See, that's where it kind of loses
Thinking
me.
about that now, would it be possible to time travel if all this was stacked?
Well, you wouldn't
Would
be
you be able to
time
go-
traveling. You would be
You
multiverse traveling.
right? You would be able to travel through the different universes, but not through time.
Time is
So
still
it-
flowing forward.
Right, so if-
Right? It's still at the same speed.
So, trying to think about these things being stacked like this, would you be able to be on more than one plane at the same time? Or
Well, technically, you are.
You technically
no, but can you experience it? Obviously,
I think so.
I don't
I
know.
absolutely think so.
Because you're yourself. You can't experience what your other selves are experiencing.
Well, there's a good
But I think you can-
possibility.
yeah.
And then how does consciousness play into that?
There's a very obscure theory, and I'll try to find the link to it that I originally saw, and it deals with people with multiple personality disorder, and in with them that the multiple personalities are from the different universes, and they're all infecting the same person.
That's
or do they just have
cool. I'd like to read
access
about
to?
that.
But then how, if it's multiple personalities, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but a multiple personality is someone who, if I have multiple personalities, and right now I'm Tina, but then tomorrow I can be Barbara.
yeah.
And if that multiverse theory is that I am branching out,
Yeah.
Tina is, if I
Still
don't
Tina.
marry this person, but then another branch goes out, it's still
Right.
Tina. It's not Barbara.
Yeah.
Right,
I
but
agree.
Then, then again, going back to that show that you talked about,
Uh-huh.
you could be a different race. You could be a different creature in general.
But you're still always that one specific entity or some version of it.
Right.
Yeah.
But then some of them had different names.
Now, what happens if one version of yourself meets another version of yourself? Is there any, like,
Isn't that what doppelgangers are about?
Yes.
something to
Yeah.
that effect?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be
But
a
isn't there
doppelganger.
some
And
kind
then,
of
yeah, something very
bad
bad happens.
happens,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think you like go insane or something.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't
is
know.
the
I've
folklore.
experienced
Well, you
something
implode.
similar. I don't know if you want to say it's multiverse, but and you know this, I've had at our previous shop, I've had at least 5 instances where I have had this complete, as if we were sitting here and had this complete conversation, and then I've watched myself step through something, and I come back and I had a conversation with our friends, and like, that never happened. And then 3 days later, it happens exactly, and they'll call me, like, oh, okay, how did you? I'm like, but I was there. They're like, no. And I'm like, and I know I was there. So I don't know if that falls into that, but yeah, it's pretty freaky.
yeah, definitely is.
But then is that multiverse, or is that
Interdimensional.
Right.
or premonition?
Yeah.
It felt too real. Like, we know what a premonition is because
like-
it's a vision, but this was, I was there.
Out
Right,
of body
but-
experience? Or?
It
But
could have been.
when you
but-
channel, it's also very
Seeing the
real.
future, maybe?
As I was there. I mean, I
You're
don't know.
channeling your future self, or you're
Possible.
channeling the moment. Like
That's
when you
something
channel,
you don't know. You don't know for sure.
Right.
Yeah,
or
but
your
it's,
mind opened up to another version of a universe.
I can tell you what I was wearing,
these things did
what
happen,
they were
though,
wearing.
right? Eventually.
Yeah.
So that's to me that's premonition.
They're like, we never had that
Right, but
conversation. I'm
now-
like, yeah, we did. And verbatim. I told them exactly what they came back and told me. And then days later, they were
It
like,
could
wow.
be multiverse just happening at a different time. It happened earlier in this other universe.
Which
Right.
gets to what Fu talked about, time travel.
Yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily time travel. It's just that in that other universe, you came across that situation and
Happening
you
then.
did something then that you in this lifetime, maybe 5 or 2 years later or whatever it may be, you came across whatever triggered you to do that event at a later time. It's not really time travel. It's just an evolution of you doing something sooner or later, depending on which multiverse you're in. I would assume.
Isn't that just another way of saying
Time
time travel?
travel?
Right.
Because you are actually not going anywhere. You are in your existence, in your universe, writing on the wheel. But in the other universe, you did the wheel 6 months ago.
Yep.
Seriously.
Digging the hole deeper.
But
No.
knowing
So it's not time
that,
travel.
but knowing that you did the wheel 6 months ago, that you were there doing that, you have recollection
Oh, wait,
of
wait.
that.
There's nothing.
That-
I wasn't crossing over into what she was saying.
Now I'm
I was
totally
just-
lost.
I am so lost right now.
Well, with her is premonition.
Spin the wheel.
Well, in the other universe, you have no recollection of you actually doing it
No, but
before
we're
or later.
talking-
I have a
about
question.
what-
Can we step into the other universe now and come back? That would make
we
Can
start
we do that?
over.
Just saying. Who's spinning?
Where's the device?
I'll get up and do it.
Spin
what's
the
this
wheel.
mean? Tina's
Oh,
gonna
damn.
spin.
Tina's going
I'm
to
gonna
spin.
spin.
I was just trying to shove my mic wire in my pocket.
Fact or fiction?
Fact or fiction?
Here we go. Hold on, wait. This had
Doesn't
another
work.
title,
Yeah,
though.
hold on.
Yes, it was called Bullshit or Not.
Okay.
Bleep bleep.
Yep.
So, basically, I'm going to give you a little story, and you guys have to decide whether it's fact or fiction, bullshit or not.
Well, it's coming from you, so sorry.
So, January 31st, 1962. Small boarding school in a small rural town. 3 girls start uncontrollably laughing. Within an hour, over 100 students are writhing in pain and laughing and just can't control themselves. Nobody knows what's going on. It just gets worse and worse. School lets out for the day, kids got to go home. Surrounding towns around the school start getting infected by uncontrollable laughter. Symptoms include dizziness, fatigue, flatulence, overall stress, fainting.
That's like us during setup.
And it just gets worse and worse and worse till the surrounding areas around where the school is are all infected. Over 1,000 people are uncontrollably laughing and going through those other minor symptoms, farting every once in a while too. And they don't know what's going on. They don't know why it started. They don't know how to stop it. And over 1,000 people are infected. It lasts from anywhere from 4 hours to 16 days.
16 days.
Yes.
Well, they had to go to sleep at some point.
Evidently not. Fact, fiction, bullshit, or not.
This is so wacky. It's got to be a fact.
It's
You
there's
know,
so
I would-
many ways that it could go there because there could be a chemical. There could have been a chemical element to the whole thing
Gas
that,
leak.
Like a
Yeah.
laughing gas or something.
that would cause it. But then again, at the same
Yeah,
time,
I could see it being
it's at
fact.
16 days. It's just so long for someone to stay awake,
Yeah, that's
Laughing.
not
laughing.
Farting.
laughing.
You know,
and
that's
farting.
what,
They
you know
would
what,
be
when he got to that
unconscious
part, I was
from-
like, you
They'd
know,
be
now you lost me.
hypoxic after
Now
like
you
a
lost
day.
me.
Now, Joe Fu farts for
I
16
almost
days.
feel like after he said flatulence that it was true.
See, now,
Because it's such a word I don't expect him to use.
that's a very good point.
It's only 3 syllables. Not that long.
All right, so
So you know the actual answer to this story.
Do I?
Do you? If you don't, then why are you telling it?
You're supposed to tell me.
I guessed already.
16 days, I'm going to say fiction.
Yeah.
Cole?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, the 16 days thing, I feel like, is throwing me towards fiction.
Wait. Did on this record that you saw, or whatever, with this story, did it say that there was individual people that laughed and whatever for a full 16 days?
Nonstop.
Yeah.
Then
Sentence lasted for 4 hours
That
is
and
the
16
implication.
days.
I'm going to
That's
do
what
it.
the exact words
I'm going to
I
say
said.
fact. I'm going to say fact just for the hell of it. Because
So-
So-
bleep,
What do we have?
I said
Two
fact.
and two, or 3 and 2? Okay,
We're gonna say fact.
Three for
Wait,
fact.
but wait,
really?
hang on.
I said fiction. I
Oh, you
can't-
said fiction. Okay.
I'm going to say
can't
fact
see
just
it.
for the heck of it.
I said
Yeah,
fiction.
can't
I'm
see
saying
it.
fiction too.
There is somebody else sitting here. What does he think?
I don't know. It's a lot of strange details that somehow he remembered. So I'm gonna go with most of it being fact.
No, he's
No,
one
it's
or
got
the
to
other.
all or nothing.
One or the
I
other.
would have done that too.
Fact.
Okay.
If any of it
Okay.
is false, then it's fiction.
So we're
right?
at 3 and
Yes.
3.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
I
So we're
agree.
3 and
Three and
3.
three.
We're tied
Yeah.
3 and 3.
Right down the middle.
Right down the middle.
July 31st, 1962, in a small rural town in Tanganyika, which is near the border of Uganda, a laughing plague broke out. Fact.
True.
The school was actually sued because they let the students go and the outlying towns and rural areas got infected, and they sued the school for it.
Wow.
Look at us. Look at us.
Did they figure out what
Yeah,
happened though?
how?
There's several theories on it. The area had just regained its freedom from the warlords, and they attribute it to the changing of the social statuses in the environment around the kids, that they were stressed because school became actually something that was actual a focal point, as opposed to they weren't really going to school before that, and the stress led the kids to break out in hysteria.
They're attributing
there
that
was-
entire thing to stress.
But
Yeah, how
people,
does that-
faculty, and adults actually had it outside the school, so
Well, in
nobody ever
Salem,
had
they
a
attribute that
concrete
to
theory.
like the fungus on the bread.
True.
yeah,
Yeah, that's more
Yeah.
what I was gonna say.
I mean, at least
Something to that could be.
tangible, but all right.
Something t-
with fact.
yeah, something like that.
Look
Yeah,
at
and
that.
it's pretty much a fact. I mean, the details were pretty
You know,
much there.
sometimes when you tell a story, you should have like a flashlight under your chin, and the light should be dim. It's like when you sat around the
Next
campfire. and you
time
told-
around, next
right?
time around, we'll have that.
Exactly.
So
Wow.
it was fact.
Nice.
You should have heard the other one I had. That was great. Who's spinning?
Hold on a second though, because that could come up again.
That's true.
Oh no, I didn't do a lot of research into it. I picked one. And went with it. The other one was pretty good too.
Yeah.
He had
Yeah.
to do all that research that way he could remember all of it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a lot to remember.
Especially
lots
the
of-
flatulence.
Yes.
Exactly.
And I haven't,
Flatulence.
I haven't read it in
Like I
a
said, it's
couple
a
of
big
days
word.
either.
Big word.
That's good. That's good.
Who's
All right.
spinning?
Fuck you.
Brian,
Fuck
you
you.
spin.
You're cool. You're cool. Fuck you. I like you.
I just got fucked by Joe Rice.
Woo! Beat that
That
motherfucker.
whole segment's out.
That's a
That's a behind the scenes.
That's for the Patreon page.
Yes.
Who's spinning?
See what you got for 25 bucks.
Brian,
Ryan, you're
spin.
spinning.
Spin.
How many?
Spin, son of a bitch.
Brian.
How many of these did we hit so far? 3. Right? We 4.
4.
We did me, simulation, multiverse,
Nope.
simulation,
It's pretty good.
spin.
You know he does that
Multiverse.
fucked up spin when you do
Wow.
it. Hang
How
on,
many
hang on.
universes are we creating
Hang on.
right now?
A lot.
Every spin.
Yep.
Why does it only do that when you spin?
Near death. Oh. Take it away, people.
A near-death experience.
Near-death experience. Anybody here have one?
Every time I go to work.
Chris?
Every time I go to work.
Every time I got to hear why
no,
Joe
no.
Fru's late.
All right. Before I was working, I was falling asleep at the wheel. I was going to school in Five Towns, which is about 50 miles from my house. Driving home at night, doing all kinds of hours. Overnight, just fell asleep on the Southern State Parkway. Now I wake up, and the car is going up and over the entrance ramp that's coming onto the thing. And I bounced the car like this, and I saw my nose of my car going into the woods. And I was like, this is it. I just fucked myself good. And into the woods the car went, smashed my head, and luckily I survived. But I
that's
thought
not-
it was it. I
But
woke
that's
up and saw...
technically not a near-death experience because you didn't see the light,
didn't
you
see
didn't
the
see
light,
your
right.
relatives or anything that you were
You didn't
seeing
speak
your
to
body.
God or see an angel, right?
didn't
That's
look up at
usually
your
what the
body
near-death
and
So
see-
you
experience.
basically have to be dead at that point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Near
Yes.
death
Near-death.
experience. Yes.
Okay.
I don't have a near-death experience. I know people who have had, and they've been pretty funny because I've been there and been involved in it. So,
Okay.
driving
Interesting.
along on a highway, and my one of my friends said something really stupid, and he was driving the car, and I proceeded to punch him in the face while he was driving the car. And in the back seat, my friend is sitting there going, "And this is what my life amounted to. He had to say something stupid. Chris has to beat him." And I'm sitting here in the back seat going, "There's no flash, there's no bright light, there's just the word Finn."
You actually told me that story before. That's awesome. That's awesome.
I haven't had an experience, but when I worked as a nurse, there was one person that had a very profound experience. I can't mention names, but she was clinically dead. Did CPR on her, everything, and she actually, when we called it time of death, at about, I'd say 30 seconds, she was, after calling it, by the way, she came back. And when she came back, she said she knew everything that was going on. And she described what was happening. She described where she went,
It's a very common story with a lot of people.
how peaceful she felt. And it's funny because she was in the hospital for a while after, and I checked up on her. And she was so depressed and so, like, she just wanted to go back where she was. She says, "You have no idea this is." So we look to live here. She says, but it's amazing.
Now, near-death experience, you die and you come back. Being a nurse, it's common knowledge for people outside, not outside, but inside the hospitals and places where these things happen, that 22-year-old comes in flatlined and a 70-year-old come in flatlined. Who do they work on longer?
Both equally.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's not really what they work on the 22-year-old longer.
They work on both.
Yeah?
They work on both.
Okay.
Doesn't
I'm
matter.
not really sure what that has to do with a near-death experience, but
Because the younger you are, the more apt you are to come back after flatlining than the older you are.
Not true.
not true.
Not true at all.
No.
I'm going to tell you the science
Yeah,
behind that.
definitely not.
People who, if you're young and you have a heart attack, you're in your 20s, 30s, you have a heart attack, you have less survival. You have a less chance of a survival from that heart attack than if you were 70.
Really?
Because by the age of 70, you've already formed, I can't think of the word, extravasculature in the heart over time, over
Wow.
over
Okay.
ages.
Yeah.
And your heart can withstand that a lot better than when you're younger. So yeah, you have a very good chance coming back in your 70s.
And from the readings that I've done over the years, I've only come across like 3 or 4 people. 4 people that have had near-death experiences, because it'll come out in their reading.
Yeah.
Only one was young, and he was very young. He was 7. The other 3 were older.
Now,
All older.
the common story is you die, you start realizing what's going on around you after you flatlined. You can see yourself because you're not in your body any longer. You may see a light, see relatives. You may go towards the light. Your relatives may be standing by it, but you don't get there. You come back. That's pretty much where it ends. You get into the light, but then you're told to go back or something to that effect.
Right, if
Something
it's
pulls
not
you
your
back.
time, right.
Now, that's been reproduced in the science lab to have people have that experience. Yeah, electromagnetic field generator on a helmet producing a lot of noise. Puts you in a state where you start to pass out. Don't go unconscious, but you start to pass out and you start to see the light and you start to see people you know. It's been reproduced.
Well,
So, is it real? I don't know.
I think it is real,
It's
and only
I
because
would
there's been a
definitely
lot
say it's
more studies done on near-death experiences, and
No, I
a lot
believe
more
it.
people. So people reported, and with these NDEs, they would report that when they do cross over, and we're talking about people who got to the morgue
Yeah.
and came back.
Those are crazy stories because people will be gone for 45 minutes and come back.
And these people, and when they're gone, the time difference is so different. So
Yeah.
they would go and meet other people that they don't know. And when they come back, and this is documented, it's reported, they were other family members of other people. And they came back with messages for these other people. Like they would approach, so I saw your son, I saw your, whatever. You can't reproduce that in a lab.
Oh, yeah.
Like these people saw that and other things like that. Have been able to see your own body. Or experiencing, like this woman, she described leaving her body through the top of her head. Like just being sucked out like that.
Wow.
And how do you reproduce that?
Well,
That's not reproduced in a lab.
Well, the whole thing is it's oxygen deprivation that's causing the person to
Yeah, you're
hallucinate.
hypoxic.
Yeah.
But that doesn't give you the sensation of your essence
I'm
being
not
sucked
saying-
out the top. Like you're literally being pulled
Now-
from the top, from your body through the top of your head.
Now, this whole near-death experience, is it a syndrome? Is it a
Experience.
experience?
It's just
an
near-death
experience.
experience. It's just
Isn't
an experience.
Provable scientifically through medical, the medical field, the medical
It's
industry.
it's documented to be a fact that
Yeah.
people are experiencing something when they are pronounced after being pronounced dead.
And
that
come back.
they are
Yeah.
and come back. They are going somewhere.
Well, they say that the brain is the last thing. Is that true?
There are in these tests, in these studies, these people had no document. There's no EEG signals. There was nothing. They were, not just the heart was flatline.
Yeah.
Everything. Neurologically, there was nothing going on.
Wow.
So, and this gets back to the original, there's something more beyond that. So we're not the body and the mind. We're consciousness. And when you leave this, that consciousness takes over. And it's still you, in essence, but it's not you. And that's what these people are experiencing. So when they go and they cross over and they're seeing other people that they have no relation to, and they come back and they tell the story.
That I've never heard before. That's crazy.
It's
That's crazy.
It's all documented. Well, these NDE studies.
Most people see their own family like in a way that they're escorting them to the light, to heaven.
Or they hear a voice or an angel.
Yeah.
A couple of people, the two people heard a voice which they interpreted
Yeah.
to be
I think
God,
I've seen a story where they saw like
and
an
then
angel.
another person said they saw an angel that
There's a
said
group
to
of
them,
doctors.
"It's
I
time-
wish I could
it's
remember
like
the
it's time.
organization.
Let's go
There's a
back."
few of them, but there's a specific one.
Yeah.
A group of doctors and neurologists and psychiatrists have been running tests on NDEs and interviewing people, and that's where a lot of them they understand people can become hypoxic and you'll experience something that you, in essence, find that speaks to you. Like if you believe in angels, you'll see angels. If you believe in Mother Durga, you'll see Mother Durga. But they go beyond that kind of testing. They interview people that have seen, like what I talked about, the other relatives. Or
Now, what would you say if I told you guys that I've seen the light and I've never had a near-death experience? Like there was no flatlining, there was no me dying. I was in a room full of people and the light appeared.
that's
And
consciousness.
it's not really, it was more like a swirling, almost like a spiraling galaxy kind of effect to it in my house where we gather quite
This
often.
was a close encounter.
No, there was other
Another
people
being.
there.
Yeah, or
It's like-
stroke.
What would,
What were you on?
Yeah, right.
No. These were controlled tests. These were tests that we were doing. The test wasn't for the light, but some dumb kid named Joe
Okay,
Rice
what-
decided to play with Ouija
what
boards and document everybody and have somebody writing everything down. And these tests went on for like 3, 4, 5 weeks, maybe a couple months. And what we didn't realize was, why is there more people all the time? Every time we get on the Ouija board and there's somebody new and there's other people. And before I knew it, I had a list of like 25, 35 names.
Because you're opening portals.
Yeah.
Bing, bing, bing. So we're doing this and we're following the same guidelines. I kept it very, condensed, and this is what we say, this is what we ask, this is how we approach it every time. specific rules, and all of a sudden there was a large group of people in there. There were people that did not speak English. They could only answer yes or no. That was it. See, no, see, no. That was it. They didn't even speak the language. And because one of them was Italian, only spoke Italian, we were able to decipher, because Italian family, that he died in the 40s in Italy. How is he doing in my basement? I don't know. Came across a 5-year-old soul that when she spelled her name, she put the words pure and clean in front of her, which was weird. Clean, Fia.
But then
Her name
how
is
could you
Sophia.
not believe
Well,
in an afterlife?
I do believe. I didn't say I didn't. I just question everything. I just want the right answers. There are so many different variations of the stories and what is actually happening that we really don't know. Yeah, things are happening. We don't know how. We don't know why. We know that your lack of oxygen is and your flatline, your brain is dying. But is that what's causing it? Is that what's not? So long story short, back to what I was just talking about. All of a sudden, when the room got really crowded and there's only 5 people in it, but it's really crowded, we got interrupted. And we're on the board doing the test, and then somebody said, mother, and then put the name of a relative of mine right after, and then we could feel the lights got really bright, the room got really heavy, and I could see it in my mind, because when you're using the board, you're using you as the initiation to the portal, so you're doing your whole ESP thing, and I could see it swirling above my head. And we all felt the bright heat, we all felt the intense light, and then when it was gone, after they were taken away by that woman, my grandmother, nobody was there. Could not contact one of those names on the list. Nobody would answer. Weird.
Portal has closed.
So I had a near-death experience of the sort without having to die or be near death. I just became part of a situation that got out of control, and somebody said, oh, come with me, to everybody that was in there. And I had real stories. 26-year-old that died in 1963 in a car accident off of Travis Avenue. Had spent more time in this null and void zone than he actually did in real life. Because by the time I came across him, it was the 90s. And he had died when he was 26, and he had been in this part. And most of them don't see each other or speak to each other. They have no idea they're next to each other. Until you make them aware.
So, Joe, you had all that stuff written down?
Yes.
What happened to...
I had to burn the book. So, when everybody's gone, I got a little sloppy too. I left out keywords that I used and didn't say what I usually said. And then the thing that answered me the next time told me it was going to kill me and everybody in my family. And, yeah, that was rough for a few weeks.
I really wish I could have read that book.
He spelled his name, and I had his name spelled, and I remember it was like 16 letters long because he won't give you his real name. So, but the way he spelled it, I remember everything. And he was just there, and he was going to kill everybody. And that was the last time. I ripped the board up, burnt the book, because we're writing down this conversation that we're having with this thing still, and I got rid of everything at that point, so I don't have the book anymore. Jeez. But that was my almost near-death experience, sort of, in a weird way. So who's spinning next?
Ready?
Spin that, baby. Come on.
Where am I holding? Here?
Anywhere. Question
mark.
Question
Random.
mark.
The
Who picks?
real random.
Okay, so the question mark is a bunch of random questions that we are going to ask one of the group. And in the hat is a name of everybody here. Who's picking?
Brian.
You spun.
Brian should pick.
Yeah.
Oh.
Tina will pick. Who gets to answer the questions, Tina?
April.
No, I knew when she put her hand in there, I'm like, it's going to be my name. Wait, now I have to answer all the questions?
It's one question.
Yeah.
Or just one
Oh,
question?
there was just
No,
one
one
question.
question.
All of them?
And we're only going to use the ones that you have a good answer for. There's only 5.
He's going to ask you multiple questions, but we're only going to use one in the edit.
No, we'll use like 2 or 3.
Or the good ones.
The deal was they asked 5, use 3.
Oh, okay. That must have been in the text nobody read.
Right.
Okay.
I do some
I'm
things.
ready. I'm ready. I hope.
Okay, April. How much of your body would you cybernetically enhance if you could?
None.
No,
Absolutely none.
really.
Quick answer with it too.
You want one like Wi-Fi chip in your brain?
You thought
Absolutely
about this before.
not.
No.
I want you to think about my life. I walk around with voices in my head all the time. Why would I want to put a chip in there? No, absolutely not.
I am not a cybernetic organism.
Okay. If you built a theme hotel, what would the theme be, and what would the rooms look like?
These are very random questions.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. So it would be creepy. I would have to do creepy, dark.
The Black Cauldron Hotel.
Oh, I like that. But with a twist.
Yeah.
Each room would have look very unassuming, and then something would change, and then there'd be murderers and
Murderers?
yeah.
Let's not stay there. Black
You
cats,
asked-
okay. Murderers? We're good.
murderers.
Investigate that.
But are they really murderers? It's like mind games.
Or is it
like
just a
mind
bellhop?
Okay. Right.
Oh,
right.
kind of
Right.
like you go into the room. You first go into the room, and it looks one way. You go into the bathroom, go use the bathroom, come out, and all the pictures have changed.
Right.
Well, that sounds
okay.
I know, like
cool.
mind
I like
games.
that.
Okay.
I like that. The
That'd be
murder
cool.
part, not so
Not
much.
like
You know,
one
but
in
you
10
don't know,
chance
is the
to get
murder
killed.
is the
You stand
murder
up.
real? Is it not? Like it would have to be the whole thing would, and then there'd be a seance room.
Nice. Okay, next question.
Okay.
What would your warning label say if everyone was required to wear one?
She has no filter.
Nice. Which we know. Which we know very clearly. Loud and clearly. What small gesture from a stranger made a big impact on you?
The Buddha Man. You're right. Huge impact. We were just talking about the Buddha Man the other day. Yeah. So
Who's that?
Yeah, what's up? Buddha man.
So we were in
Good Buddha.
the old shop.
Stop.
We were in the previous shop, and it was myself and two other of our friends, our sisters, just milling about the shop, and this man walks by the front, and we call him the Buddha Man. He had a turban on, long, beard, and he stopped and he looked at me and he came in, and when he came in, he came right to me. So here's two other people here, and he came right to me, and as soon as he started to speak to me, it was like everything went white, and he just spoke to me, and he said to me, first thing he said to me is, "You are from India," and I said, "No, I am not." He said, "Not in this life." I went, "Okay," and then he proceeded to tell me all these things. He told me I have 4 children. He told me this. He told me we were going to have a second shop here. He told me that we were not going to stay there. But then he also said to me, "You are very strong." He goes, "You are connected to God." And I said, "Yes, I know." Because at that time I was going through something pretty heavy, and I kept my faith very strong. And he said to me, "You are connected to God. And every morning, you say your mantra." And I said, "Yes, I do." He said, "You need to say one more." And he gave me, I don't have it on, but I have kept it since. It's with another necklace. He gave me these little red beads. And he said, "You must keep this always." And he walked out. And when he walked out, everything came back into focus. And the 2 women that were there said, it was like we weren't even here. It's like, and we were just speaking about it the other day. She goes, "Remember that guy that came in?" And it has stayed with me.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely stay with me.
That's
So
it.
if you're out there, thank you.
Who would you want to play you in a movie about your life?
Okay. So what's the one that, okay, my girls do this all the time. What's the one that I don't want? The one that I don't want, that everybody tells me I look like, that I don't want, huh?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, I can't think of a name. Who would I want to play me? I think, who's the one in Avatar? And she was in Ghostbusters.
Avatar and Ghostbusters?
She was in Avatar and
The
Ghostbusters.
original or the reboot?
The
The
original.
reboot. The original.
The original.
Who from Avatar is in Ghostbusters?
Sigourney Weaver.
Thank you.
Oh.
Sigourney Weaver.
Wow.
Wow.
Woof, right over my head.
Yeah,
that
really.
was
Whew.
Sigourney Weaver.
But there is somebody that they always, and I'm like, no, absolutely not. But I'll take Sigourney Weaver.
Nice.
She's very cool.
Awesome.
Is that it for the questions?
Yep.
All right.
Who's spinning? Spin, Joe Fu. Spin.
Okay, there you go. Zombie!
Zombies.
What are we doing?
No.
What was that? You were like a chicken zombie.
Did you hit record on that?
So zombies. What do we know about zombies? Let's talk about them.
Okay.
What
I
do we
hate
know
zombies.
about zombies?
I hate zombies.
I hate zombies. I don't watch zombie
Me
movies.
either.
I don't want to know about a zombie
I don't.
apocalypse.
Walking Dead.
Nope.
Walking.
Absolutely not. No.
Living. I don't.
So April,
no.
you go first.
Okay. Night of the Living Dead scarred me. I will nope. Nope.
Not only that,
And then
but
I saw the
think
movie Crazies.
everything that goes out there is like
Cancel. I don't want to know.
cancel.
Cancel.
Like we create the simulation. We create our reality. Nope.
Nope. Not creating that.
Nope.
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 Mm-mm.
Nope. COVID was bad enough. That's when zombies. And look, you're one now. Post zombiness.
All right. Zombies in general, you know, the way that we see them in movies, I don't really think that they could exist. The sheer fact that there are zombie creatures out there at this point where they are infected by a parasite. And
Yes.
the parasite basically bores into their brain in a
This
way
is
and
why-
makes them
see?
move.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's what I'm
you've
talking
got what they call you have a zombie deer syndrome that's going around. That the deer, they walk around and just bleed.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
you know, there is actual, I wasn't even going to mention this, but in Haiti,
Yes.
there is an actual, like, they documented where the voodoo, whatever, he'll put something on a person, and the person literally dies and becomes a zombie.
Bro, 20-something years
Cancel.
later, he came out of the
Cancel.
grave.
Cancel.
20-something.
Well, we didn't, I mean,
what are we talking about?
I
Not
don't
2
know.
days.
You were there.
Not 2 days. 20-something years later, the dude rose from the dead from the grave.
Come on.
I don't know about that one, but I know like it
Why
was
did it
like
take him
2
so long?
days or 3 days,
Better late than never.
His ex-wife.
and the voodoo practitioner, doctor, whatever you call him, he would have these like, people enslaved to him, like they had to serve him as zombies.
See what I'm
but
saying?
they came back to life like 2 or 3 days later.
I'm not
Like
listening.
and it's something in Haiti. This is like documented in Haiti that these voodoo doctors do this, or if you go to these voodoo doctors for something, I don't know, to save your family member or something, then he actually tells you when you die, then you come back, like you're mine. But that's actual a thing in
Mine.
in Haiti. I don't know the whole but when I heard about it and I watched it was on a documentary, I was like, oh no, I can't.
Nope, I'm washing it out of my brain
Gotta
right now
change it.
because I'm gonna go home
So-
and I'm gonna dream and then
We got different types of
Cancel,
zombies.
cancel.
We got slow movers, crawlers.
Shamblers.
We got the running zombies, which are a whole new pretty much thing within the last 10 years or so. Never had that before. We had the whole zombies, the zombie strut. Now they run.
Can we spin again?
What's the matter? You don't like
I
zombies?
don't like zombies.
No.
I didn't even get that impression. Sorry.
And Zombie's a song. It sounds similar to some song that we wrote.
Yeah. Right?
My God.
No, stop. It's not the same song.
Yeah, we'll leave it alone.
Totally different tempo. Different key
Just to
too.
redo it.
Which please?
Which, please. That's a visual.
It's a visual. All right. All right.
Who's spinning next?
I guess it's me.
Zombies was a quick,
Alright.
one and done, but
It's all right. It's getting late. Christopher.
Yeah, that didn't.
Christopher.
Chris,
That
you
didn't
got
strike
two
me
things
as a
to land
topic
on,
that would
Chris.
strike you
I
guys.
would
see
just
that.
pick one. out
Like
of
that,
it.
but I totally get like you don't want to put that out into the universe.
No.
No.
And I feel that. I understand why. Yeah. Chris got the touch.
First time.
There you go.
Topic is UFOs. Who would like to kick that one off?
The mummies of Nazca, Peru.
Yes. What about the mummies?
Did you hear about them?
I
They
know
found
about
like mummies that look like aliens. These mummies they did DNA tests and the mummies of Nazca.
I know about the Nazca lines and all that.
No,
So
they
the
found
aliens that they
mummies there.
mummify 'cause
Were
they were
they,
afraid of
were they the
them, they
people that
wrapped
made
them
the
up.
lines?
Well, who knows?
Technically, there's two different civilizations that they say made them.
Well,
because they
what
span a
they
large
found
distance of
mummies of it looked, like grays,
Mm-hmm.
but this wasn't. This was like maybe a cross between a human and a gray. So
Uh-huh.
it was taller, like our height, and with 3 fingers. It was
Crazy,
anyway,
huh?
Clearly,
Oh, I saw an episode of that.
What, American Dad? She's describing Roger. Oh, I don't know if we can do this topic.
What's that show that does the aliens?
Oh, yeah, I know the guy you're talking about.
Ancient
The guy with the big
aliens
hair,
or
yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
yeah.
George
Tasakis,
his hair.
Sakis, whatever, yeah.
But think about it. It's. I mean,
I've seen 3 different times in my life.
we
3
saw
different
an
times.
alien.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, you told us. Yeah,
3
I seen
different
the
times.
picture. Seen the picture.
First time I saw one, I was probably 5 or 6. Could have been 7. 7 seems to be a very good number at my age. And I lived on an 8-story apartment building, and I was sitting on the floor playing, and I looked at the window, and I saw this figure hanging upside down outside my window.
What the
And Tina actually drew it. It's in my phone. Years later, I described it, and as I was describing, she goes, "Hold on a second, I know exactly." And she drew it.
Because I've seen the same thing. She said it was hanging upside down.
It was hanging, and because it's me, I was like, "Oh, okay." And I only came to find out last year that my brother saw the same thing hanging from the window at a different time, and he was speaking
Same
about
window?
it. The same window. And
Too bad you
then
don't have that picture.
I have it in my phone. If Brian wants to get my phone, I think I have the. And then I saw the UFO when I was 16, 3 nights in a row.
Wow.
And then
That's
we
cool.
have the picture of the one we saw in the house. Let's see if I can find it.
I've seen a UFO. I've seen a light in the sky do
So
some
cool.
weird stuff.
She has a video.
And I wasn't the
a
only one
friend
to see it.
sent.
Same.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we were
Yeah, show that
we were
video.
together on an event, and I saw something
have
weird, and it
Oh,
was
that
there was
thing in the
3
sky.
lights in the sky.
Yes.
Tank?
Let's
And-
see. Photo.
Oh, sorry.
Hold on, let me see if I can find the photo.
3 lights in the sky, and I'm just like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, I wonder where that's coming from. And then a cloud passed, and the 3 lights disappeared. And realized
So it
it
was
was
coming
coming
from
from above
And not
down.
below. Right.
That's
Well,
crazy.
you know, not all of it, but some of the UFO reportings and all the classified material that the government was holding
Yeah.
is now unclassified.
Yeah.
Project Blue Book.
Yeah.
So it not even all everything like Blue Book, Project was it pinpoint to something I don't remember. But there are so many now. Like full disclosure is coming. But yeah,
Are they really
there's-
disclosing?
I mean, they've been around us since ancient times.
Yeah.
I really think like they definitely play a role. Look at the Anunnaki. The whole idea behind the Book of Enoch. You can't tell me he wasn't abducted by aliens.
Well, to me, in the little bit of the universe that we can see, which is very small, but there's billions and trillions of stars with hundreds of billions and trillions of planets around them. So to think that we are the only sentient life is just ridiculous. We can't be. There's no way. We just got lucky. No, it's not. I think it's a process to the universe that creates these things.
There's a very popular theory that most of the ancient mythology, all the characters in the ancient mythology, were actually aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And we were engineered to be more advanced now. So, yeah, Anunnaki.
Well, yeah, that whole argument is, for millions of years we were ape-like creatures because we weren't apes anymore. And we just stuttered along the timeline for millions of years. And then all of a sudden, we came, Homo sapien came, and then we took off. So there's some credence to why that happened. Why wasn't the Neanderthal? I can't say that word. Neanderthal. Why wasn't it the Neanderthal? I still can't say that word. Or any other the other species of humans, because there was like 6 or 7 at one point.
Yeah, well,
altogether.
we lived when our modern human lived side by side with Neanderthals.
Yes, and we probably wiped them out.
That thing upside
Whether
down.
it be through
Upside down.
breeding with or hunting down or whatever, right? Fighting with. But
Well, not even not even wipe them out. In the fact that Neanderthals and Homo sapiens bred and created.
that's how we wiped them out.
Well, I
They
can't
kinda
really
like
consider that
fo-
wiping
like,
them out.
I think
we
watered
actually
down.
forced
We
evolve
all
them.
have like a certain small percentage of Neanderthal DNA in us, and
Right.
some people actually have a little more than others.
Yes, I know some that have a little more than others.
I ain't got that eyebrow ridge. Sorry, I know a few guys that do.
I'm going to show you this, but I just because somebody
So-
sent it to us. But this was just 2 days ago. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you want to. This was continuously floating. She's in her yard, and she's seeing this. And it happened a couple of nights in a row.
Now, is it moving or is she moving the phone up?
No,
and down?
It's moving.
It's moving.
How do you know
She
that?
sent us a couple of videos.
You could tell if you
You
look
could
at
tell.
it.
Well, there's no reference in the video besides a blue sky and the thing that's in it. Well, it just got brighter and darker,
Yeah, it is
didn't it?
definitely like getting brighter and darker.
So that means the camera's moving around.
Want to try this one?
The dot means?
She says she looks up and she sees it. We haven't.
That's got reference to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see there's a house. So you can see what's moving.
It's
along.
sparkling.
This is obviously later.
Now, plane lights aren't usually, they're white and red.
No, that wasn't moving at all. Just steady there.
Yeah.
So back to what we were saying now. Like I said, I believe that there's something else out there besides us as sentient life forms. I believe that. Now the whole have they been here? Have they been coming here? I don't know. The universe is a very big place, and we specifically do not have the technology for it. That doesn't mean any other races wouldn't.
So let me
But
pose this
it's
question
very
to you.
large.
So you don't know if they came here, but yet.
No, I'm not saying they didn't. I'm not saying they did. I just,
So our leap in
it's
technology,
it is very strange. I give you that.
evolution.
Yeah, it's very strange.
I'm sorry. I always look at the pyramids. Like, come on. Look at the pyramids.
Well,
Look at all the
you kinda know how
technology
they
we
were
have
built.
today, all the equipment we have today, and it still takes how long to build a structure? And those with no technology, nope, they had help. Nope.
And they're a lot older.
maybe we
Absolutely.
lost a lot of that technology over the thousands of years. It's hard to say.
It's possible.
The whole library of
Alexandria.
Alexandria, we lost a ton of technology supposedly and everything in there. We took steps back as a society afterwards. But, who knows? There are things that, I saw a story, and I don't know if it was true or not, but there was a guy who moved 5 to 12 ton, rock carvings in his backyard just with the force of the universe.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he built this whole fucking thing. Crazy thing, too. And nobody knows how he did it. Did it by himself. No help from anybody. His neighbors thought he was crazy.
He used some kind of magnetic resonance
Resonance,
or.
Yeah, he did
Cool.
some kind
I'll
of
have to look that
things
up. I'd
that
like
we
to see
don't
that.
know about anymore.
But it
You know?
wasn't, even though he did it, it wasn't something that, like, they still couldn't find out how precise, like, the pyramids are. Like, it was still, like, he couldn't make it as precise.
Well, yeah. But still,
Yeah.
even the pyramids, that's a crazy thing. I agree. But
But if you
could be
think,
lost
look-
technology. That's all
So
I'm
look
saying.
at ancient texts. Besides the book of Enoch, which was taken out of the Bible, and otherwise it would be in ours as well. But look at the Mahabharata, or look at other ancient texts that talk about, beings from the sky,
Yeah.
from another place, and coming, and whether or not they're having a war on this, not on this planet, but over us,
Yeah.
and causing chaos, or they're interfering with different things, or they. I mean, come on. Look at.
Who knows?
I
Yeah.
keep going back to the Book of Enoch. I won't anymore. But in the Mahabharata, they took
Yeah.
out the flying Vimanas.
Yeah.
They had these things, machines that flew.
Yeah. Crazy.
That's the DeLorean going back in time.
Yes.
Told you, time travel.
Foo, it's your kids. Get in. We got to stop them.
We gotta go back in time and get you away from Joe Rice before you go join that group.
We got to go back in time and get you a vasectomy.
Disappearing.
Oh, so that was great. That was great. The reel was a good idea. Maybe we'll use some of it on future episodes. Maybe we'll do some random questions every episode or not. We're going to discuss that.
Pick a different name out of a hat every week.
Yeah, I think you should.
Oh, no.
Get some random questions.
I think you should.
We
It kinda
all get
brings-
random questions.
Woo! So basically, if we just write our names on the wheel and just spin it, we won't have topics because we'll come in with
But
our
wait, we
original
have to come
plan.
up with random questions for him because he
That's
can't write
right.
the random questions for himself.
Right.
Well, I have the app and so does Brian. It's a random
Okay.
question generator.
Okay.
So,
You know, we could just make up questions that we really want to know the answers to.
You know, that's where I was going. Inquiring minds want to know.
yes. So, but I think it was a great idea. I enjoyed
Yeah, I
it.
thought it was
I
good.
enjoyed it, and we could use it in several different ways in the future, and we'll keep using it. We'll have access to it. So,
So we hit everything on the wheel. That's it. At
No.
least once.
No, we
didn't
missed
hit-
one.
We didn't hit.
We didn't
The
hit the
moon.
moon. Yeah.
the moon.
Wait, what?
We'll save that for a topic of another show.
We didn't talk about the moon.
We
Yeah.
didn't
With
talk
Moon
about
Sisters.
the moon.
The moon.
That
I
was
know with the
messed
moon
up.
That could be its
sisters.
own show topic.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Is
We
it
could dive
real,
into that
or
another
is
time.
it
How about
not
that?
real?
Make you
Sure.
happy?
Sure.
Yes. All right.
Is it man-made?
The moon, fact or fiction?
Did we actually walk on the moon?
Green cheese? Oh, that was Tom and Jerry. Never mind. But great topics today. We really, it was really interesting.
Yeah.
I learned a lot too, which is always the purpose of the show,
Which
is to learn. Always learn and question everything. That's my philosophy. Join us, next time. And just to let you know, we are on YouTube. Dark Odyssey Paranormal on YouTube. Facebook, Dark Odyssey Paranormal at Facebook. Also streaming on, 10 or 12, 15 different streaming services for our podcast. Spotify, Anchor,
.fm.
Anchor.fm. We're also on Google Podcasts. We are on, what else, guys?
Buzzsprout.
Amazon Music. But we're on several different kinds. Anchor FM really branches you out to like 5 or 6 others. Check us out. Stay tuned. We'll have more next time.
Don't forget about our Twitter, Dark Odyssey Team, and our Instagram, Dark Odyssey Paranormal.
Yeah, and contact us at any time. We'd love to hear from our fans. We'd love to hear what you think. We'd love to hear what you'd like us to talk about.
Yeah, give us some ideas for some other episodes that you want to hear about.
And if you're being haunted, do reach out to us. We can help.
Absolutely.
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 So you didn't say hit the like, subscribe.
Hit the like and subscribe. And Joe Fu will be happy and leave me the fuck alone. Thank you guys. Have a good night. It's been great.
And that ends the random show. Got excited.
My murder house?
I get excited.
I like my murder.
Well,
Please
the idea
come
is to go
stay at the murdered.
And stay at the
She's
same
like, I live in a
hotel, not get
murderverse.
murdered.
I didn't say you get murdered.
Murderverse. That's the name of it.
I didn't say you get murdered. I'd say there'd be murderers. It's a mind game.
Isn't that implied with murderers?
Murderers.
Somebody has to be
murderverse?
murdered to have a murderer.
But are they really? It's a mind game hotel.
Okay, awesome.
They're very twisted.
It's an assisted suicide. Want to volunteer?
Spin, Joe Fu, spin.
What are you doing?
I don't know,
have
but
no-
it
It
doesn't,
looks
it
very
doesn't look
God,
good.
Looks
It doesn't
very
look good.
creepy.
Cut that out.
Hands
will you?
there.
All right, here goes
Definitely
nothing.
cut that out.
Oh, it wasn't recording.
No, come on, really? For how long? No, Joe, no. No, you fucking with me, right? You fucking with me. You're filming me, motherfucker. You are recording, right?
Yeah, it's recording.
All right.